Welcome to Module 1.3, Elements of Class Orientation and Syllabus. Before we look at the syllabus, I'd like to turn our attention to, prior to the beginning of the semester, the class orientation letter. All distance education courses listed in the are going to be listed in the distance education website each semester, and every class should provide the following information to the DE coordinator as part of the orientation for students. What you see here are the fundamental information that students should know prior to registering for a class. For example, course description, contact information for the instructor, textbook information, how to log into Canvas, when is the first day of class, proctoring, whether or not that's going to be a required part of class, whether or not there's mandatory meetings. The class orientation letter template is available both from the DE coordinator as well as in this course. Prior to registration and subsequent to WebAdvisor posting the semester sections, the DE coordinator will contact each of the assigned instructors soliciting a class orientation letter. In addition to the class orientation letter, and very similar to its organization, is the welcome letter. And this is a letter the course instructor sends to each registered student subsequent to registration but prior to the beginning of class. And this is the opportunity for the instructor to do many of the things that she or he would do on the first day of class, which is establishing rapport, going over the syllabus, and answering any questions that students might have. So this is your opportunity to inform students what they need to do to log in and what's expected of them, especially in the first week. Specifically to the welcome letter from course instructors, you see basic course information, the type of course, and this is listed both in WebAdvisor, in the course orientation letter, and the welcome letter to remind students that this is a fully online course. This is a fully online course with proctored exams or with mandatory campus attendance, or this is a hybrid course where the class will be meeting in person, say once a week, and the rest of the time the work will be done online. Important information for the first week: what students do when it comes to the first day of class. Early in the history of distance ed here at CR, I've had at least one incident where a student was wandering campus looking for the virtual campus. We have to inform students clearly ahead of time where they need to go and what they need to do. And so giving information about logging into Canvas, when the class begins, when you have to sign in, when you have to post your first posting, where the syllabus is, and the textbooks. Because unlike face-to-face classes, oftentimes the first week is a teaching week and an orientation week, whereas online there are assignments due the first week, and students need to have their textbook because of the great reliance on textbooks that online classes have. They need to have it before the class begins. The online syllabus, or more exactly the syllabus for online classes, is more detailed than the face-to-face counterpart. It's it includes what you would have in a face-to-face class, but goes well beyond that by giving information, specific information about how the course is organized, providing a map to how to navigate the course, guidelines for class participation and grading criteria, and the schedule, of course. So, more specifically, when you imagine your online syllabus, you should think of it in terms of three key elements. The first is that your syllabus is a contract, and it provides information of what your expectations are, what the student's expectations of you can be, and grading criteria, and what the student needs to do to get the grades that he or she is seeking. The second would be the course map, which is the way the course is organized. Not only do you want to make your course organized in an intuitive and easy to navigate fashion, you also need to be very explicit to your student how the course is navigated. So it's common to have a home page, and then there's a clearly identified information that says start here, and you give detailed instructions on how to navigate the course website and how to address the assignments for the first week. And then comes the third key element would be the course schedule. And while it's similar to a face-to-face syllabus, unlike face-to-face classes where a syllabus may or may not be highly detailed in what's going to be done at any particular time, online classes really need to have the kind of concrete deadline and date specificity. So you need to know what you're doing on week 8 and exactly when your exam is going to be, unlike a face-to-face class where you may organize your schedule very roughly and say, from weeks 4 through 8 we're going to address this topic or that topic, and you give yourself maximum flexibility. You're constrained with an online class because any ambiguity is very difficult for students to navigate and understand when they don't have that face-to-face contact with you. So, turning to the first of the 3 elements, the course contract, here are some key items that should be included in your course syllabus. And much of this is similar to what you would have in a face-to-face course syllabus: course description, student learning outcomes, requirements, grading criteria, policies. But in addition, you would expect, or I would expect to see clear ideas, rules, pathways for participation, clear ways to contact the instructor. And so students need to know how to send you a message, how to contact you through email, how are you most likely to respond. And students can be confused whether or not they should send you a message, whether they should post something. And occasionally students will post a question that's meant for you, and it's very personal and specific, and they post it in a very public place in a discussion forum. And you want to prevent that from happening. 2 things I'd like to bring to your attention: faculty and student expectations. So in your syllabus, have a paragraph dedicated to what you expect from your students in terms of how frequently they should log in. They should at least attend the class twice or 3 times a week. They should read the assigned readings, participate in the discussion forum, submit a quiz. And then in addition to that, a second paragraph of what they can expect of you as a faculty member. And so that would include they can expect you to log into class 3 times a week, to read every posting, to reply or to provide a scoring rubric to the weekly student posts, to respond to all messages or emails within 2 business days. Be very explicit on what you're going to do, because the students need to know that you're actively engaged with the class, and they need to know what the rules are, what rules you're going to follow to be engaged with them. In addition to faculty and student expectations, you would also have information regarding accessibility. This is particularly important where students can't simply approach you in class, but rather need to do this electronically. You may get information from DSP&S on student accommodations, but you also need to post something in your syllabus regarding access, or your approach to increasing access for students to take your class. And there are a number of boilerplate statements that you can use in your syllabus. And maybe this would be a good time for me to mention that I have posted, I think, 4 model syllabi that you can draw directly from and take the accessibility statement, for example, from one of the syllabuses that are posted in this class. In addition, tech support: where do students go when they're having problems with the technology? All of this should be posted in your syllabus. In addition to the contract is mapping weekly assignments with modules. So there's two terms here. One is the mapping term. Mapping means that you're being very explicit in showing a map of the terrain of your course. So that doesn't need to be necessarily visual, but it needs to be explicit. And so typically what faculty will do is say, this is where you start here, and this is what you do this week. The first thing you'll do is read this information out of the textbook, read this lecture, and the lecture can be found, and you give the location. That's followed by a discussion forum, and here's where you go to do the participate in the discussion. Here are the grading criteria, or where you can find the grading criteria for the discussion. This is what the discussion is worth in terms of points. Then after you do your discussion, you can take the weekly quiz, and here's where you go for your quiz, and here's where you go to find the results of your quiz, and here in the grade book is where you can find the feedback on the quiz, what questions you got right, what questions you got wrong, what the correct answer is to the missed questions, and the feedback for the discussion post, where you'll provide a rubric giving them an idea of what they did well and what they did poorly. So that's the map, is really giving the students clear, explicit direction, concrete direction. Modules is a tool that's used by Canvas that helps you organize the map. It's sort of a mapping template. And what most faculty who teach online do is they organize the course by weekly modules, and in each weekly module they have the components that they expect students to address that week. So for example, week 3 module is reading in the textbook, chapter 3 for example. Here's my online lecture or video. Here is the access to the discussion forum. Here's access to the quizzing tool. Here is access to questions, the link that you can open to find the question discussion forum, where faculty with instructor will answer questions. It's much like when a student raises a hand, these answers are meant for the class as a whole. All of that can be organized under a single module. And so students can move to week 3 and see in one place everything they need to do, and then move to week 4 and see in one place everything they need to do. And this is and you can set your Canvas modules up so that you can monitor, I guess would be the best word. You can watch the students' progress. So if you set your course up there, they have to go to this link. It says this site must be opened, this quiz must be submitted. Then you can go to student analytics and see if they in fact are doing these things. So for example, this might come in handy if somebody's doing poorly on a quiz, and you go to the student analytics and say, well, yeah, you're taking the quiz, but you didn't do the reading. You never opened up the lecture or the video clip that the quiz was based on. Okay. The course schedule, similar to face-to-face class, except that it needs to be very, very explicit. So if you normally teach a regular class with a very detailed schedule, just roll that over into your online course and then organize it by weekly modules. If you've been relatively vague in providing a schedule to a student in your face-to-face classes, this is going to challenge you, because you should have a very detailed map in your schedule, so a student can look at the schedule and see exactly where she needs to be at any given time. As I mentioned earlier, there are examples of online syllabi are available in this module, and you can also find them in the resource section, which is the welcoming module. The very first welcoming statement that you'll find in this online teaching and learning training is a list of resources, and there I have listed the syllabi.